Hi guys, welcome back to 11 Minutes with Felicity. Today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Zoe. She lives in Australia. She's an ascension coach, and I'm very excited about it because she inspired me to do this video and supported me and helped me with it. So thank you, Zoe, for being here. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me. So great to be here.
Great to have you. So, Zoe, you are an ascension coach. What is that?
So an ascension coach is, I generally work with people who are somewhere on their journey. So they're kind of maybe spiritually a little bit awake or spiritually a lot awake, but they're somewhere where they've kind of woken up some part of them and they know that there's something more. Maybe there's more that they have to do in their own life. Maybe they're getting some gifts coming through that they want to kind of explore, or maybe they've all kind of got them in place and they've reached some kind of block. So I work with those people to help them kind of, because I can see everybody's potential. So I can then go in and help kind of shift the limiting blocks and beliefs that are in the way, work through some of the shadow work that needs to be done, and just kind of help them kind of propel them on their ascension path. So it's very cool, very rewarding.
Zoe, what excites you about your work, about the work that you do?
I think the fact that I can feel people's potential. So being able to draw that out, whether that has been my mother or friends over the years or clients, being able to draw out anybody's potential for what you really know about them and you really know their power, being able to see that metamorphosize in front of you is just really amazing. And then having people, go and quit their job and start their passion projects and make that a career, or, really like propel their artistic career, things like that. It's just super rewarding.
Great, sounds, thrilling. So let's dive into a little bit the language and how that can help implement like a new life script or the life script that we want. Can you dive into that more?
Yeah, so I would say like part of my journey started by looking at my language. I was in I was in Thailand. I was on a fasting retreat in Thailand, and I met this guy called Mark England who has a business called Vocabulary, and he was always about kind of using your language to determine what you want, to kind of put it out there. So it was kind of my first introduction to kind of manifesting. And so I was thinking, this is my start place. It's a great place for anybody to start, because I really didn't understand, didn't know what manifesting was. I was just given this piece of paper that said, only speak in terms of what you want. And it was kind of like that the universe doesn't hear no. It just kind of takes away the negative. If you're saying a negative, it's not hearing that, it's hearing it in the positive. And so by changing your language to only speak in terms of what you want, you're able to kind of put in your orders every day with the universe. So this two-page piece of paper to read every morning for 2 minutes. And it was just a matter of you just read it. There's nothing else you had to do. But by reading it every day, you started to notice what you were doing with your language. Started to notice when you were talking in the negative instead of the positive. So, just hearing yourself say, well, I don't want to get such and such for lunch instead of I want to get this. I don't want to date a smoker instead of I want to date a non-smoker. There were this reframing that happened. And so for me, I would just start catching it. And the instructions are, when you catch yourself speaking in the negative, you just reframe it. So you're allowed to say it, you're allowed to think it. You've had a habit of years and years of thinking negatively. But when you hear it, then just to flip it, you rephrase it, rethink it, re-say it, whatever you need to do. And for me, within about 10, it's a 30-day thing, but within about 10 days, I started having amazing things happen. It was 4 tickets to New Zealand Fashion Week, but I've never been before. I won prizes on the radio. It was just people kept giving me things, and it was just all I had done was start to change and speak in a more positive way. And by the end of the 30 days, I won a holiday. So I won a holiday to Australia. I was in New Zealand at the time. I won a holiday to Australia, flights, tickets to a festival, and 1,000 Australian dollars spending money. And all I did was literally just change how I spoke. So And all I had to do every day first was just start hearing myself, start being the observer to that. So it was really amazing. And if you think about it, if you think about your own language, you think about as a child, we are told from a very, very young age, we are spoken to in a negative way. Don't forget to take your jumper to school, don't forget to, don't be late, instead of be on time, instead of remember your jumper. It's like the reframing starts. So if you've got kids, this is a great one as well to kind of be very observant of, because you can actually help train them as well. So yeah, really mind-blowing that it took such a small thing to start really flipping, like literally flipping everything. And then what happens, it spirals. People think, you start hearing people say, well, you always win prizes. And that also reinforces that to the universe, that everyone believes that thing about you. You can sort of retrain even of people around you what they think about you, not just your language.
That's so powerful. I got wetty eyes listening to you, because I this is the reason why I'm doing this series, for people to share this kind of knowledge. And I do believe this is so important. It's so important to use the proper language for the future within life. So what you actually do regarding this manifesting, using the language, it's like you only talk about good and positive things you want in your future or in your present, or how does the present and the future and the past get into this equation, into this sentence?
So it's not that we're not spiritual bypassing here. We're not like forgetting that you have negative experiences. It's just, if there is an example where you have said something and it can be reframed to be more positive, then you go ahead and you do that. So it's not saying like, oh, we're not allowed to have negative experiences, or we've got to stuff down any negative experiences. It's just a matter of just kind of being the observer to what you're saying. And then when you can make it be a more positive, more of an affirmation to what you're going towards, where you want to be in your life, what you want to bring into your life, then it's kind of clearing up the channel for the universe to do that for you. So it's really not about kind of being like, oh, we just can't be negative. No, go ahead and be negative. If you need to have a shitty day, you have one. It's just, if you can catch yourself thinking or saying something in a negative way, and you can say it in a positive way, then you have faster, better manifesting results for sure. More like proof of it, like a holiday.
That's so you actually did this for 10 days, and then things coming
for 30 days.
For 30 days, okay.
Yes.
And
so
then
it was a 30-day trial, and then 10 days in was when I started to notice the difference. So I didn't even need to do the full 30 days to see the difference. It was 10 days in it started, and then it just kept going, just kept getting things.
So it's like living your mission right now.
Yes, I think it's like it was the kickstart, this kickstart to living a life of freedom, a kickstart to really tuning into your intuition on when things, a kickstart into understanding you can have whatever you want, and anytime you can't have it, it's because you're in your own way, it's because you've kind of blocked yourself. So that kind of, it was the start place for me was the simple thing, and it's not that simple, to be honest, it's just a practice to start hearing how you talk. I might be quite annoying as a friend, because sometimes people will be like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that and I should do this and I should. I'm like, no, we don't use need or should or must or have to. They all imply you don't want to do it. So we reframe it into I want to, or I'm going to, but we really, those words, they're just like swear words to you, so I'm quite often hearing other people speaking and just being like, no, not need. It's like it's a really cool thing to hear, but I think it might be a bit annoying as well sometimes. But it's a quick way to kind of make it, you're really implying a lot of things. I don't use the word try either. I use the word experiment, because with experiment you don't fail. With try, it's almost like you've already given up.
So actually this practice is something you do daily, and you've been doing this since the moment you found out about that, right? More or less.
I wouldn't say it's a daily practice. It's a practice in the beginning as you're teaching yourself, and then as you know, over time, I was teaching myself, to hear my words, and then you're teaching yourself to understand and listen to your thoughts. So you're kind of just becoming more and more of an observer. And then obviously the more you're an observer to your own consciousness, the more you are in a position to manifest and master from there, rather than your consciousness kind of like engulfing the whole of you. So I think it's not that I read this thing for 30 days and then I haven't read it probably again since, but I talk about it often enough. I've written about it, and it just, as a practice, I might have points where my consciousness slips a little bit, but I am very conscious of my thoughts and my words and my actions towards manifesting, towards getting what I want. So by starting with, I'm going to change my language, then you start getting proof on how you are supported by the universe. So for me, it was the reason it was the start point. It was at some point when you start going, oh, there's a bit something more than what's going on, something more than just being on the rat race and working on the hamster wheel all the time. And when you start getting to that point, you're then going to look to, how can I gain proof that what I'm thinking is true? And so that for me was using language. But then I also love language, so it can also be things like keeping a proof journal to see all your tiny miracles. It can be a lot of different ways that you just I think everyone's going to get a little entry point into the universe has your back as a theme, and so it's just that this was mine, and then from there I then would look and explore a little bit more about what was manifesting, and from there it became a matter of, again, gathering more proof that I could have what I wanted, and then again, a few years ago, taking that to a next level as well, and then all of that time developing intuition as well, to really start feeling into more of the support that is there for every single person from the universe to have a great and fulfilling life that is intuitively yours instead of the cultural norm, and it takes a long time, I think, to get out of cultural conditioning. But I think it starts with something small first, where you can gather proof. And so for me, the language was an easy exercise, and I can share the document at the end that I use, so people, if they want to try this, they can, and go and see for themselves. Because really, it's a matter of, like, I know a lot of people where they're kind of like, well, that's crap, that you can get whatever you want, like, this is what's happened to me, this is what happened to that person, why would that happen to that person? But it's like, the minute you're like, I want to have a go, I want to try and see what happens if I experiment with this, then I think you're like, you've opened up a new door, and you're like, the universe is like, oh, finally.
Thank you, Zoe, so much for being here, for all your advices, and for all the things you've been sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me, and I so appreciate what you're doing to help raise the vibes right now for the people around that are looking for, okay, well, what else do I need to do right now? And where else can I get good information? So by you kind of going out there and really tuning into the people that are helping shift the planet as well, I think doing an amazing job, and fully support what you do, and hopefully I'll come back on the show another time.